How's it
That, that,
going, Neva?
that might be 30 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, in case 30 seconds have passed, allow me to introduce you to the Eastgate UK live show. We got Carlos over. This is the hardest part. Over there, I'm here, and Sookie's down there staying silent. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Eastgate UK live show. Another episode with my good friend Carlos. What it
Yes,
does,
indeed.
Bridges. What it
Ah,
does. See the
I'm
Bridges.
so excited to be back, Neva. It's been a long 3-week hiatus.
Yeah, it has been. It has been. So much has happened in 3 weeks. Like your lighting is just went out from where it was a second ago.
Ooh, yeah, I'm playing with the lights a little bit. Like it's a
Okay.
little bright. Like I've nah,
Do
nah,
you use
nah.
a
We'll
diffuser?
keep the background. Nah, I really
Um,
should. I keep saying I'm gonna upgrade my lighting in here a little bit, but it has not been the biggest priority. So
okay.
just keep letting it do what it's got to do.
All right. Well, stay in that sweet spot.
We're trying. We're trying.
Right. Right. So, Mr. Bridges, how you been, man?
I've been pretty good. I've been really focusing on just like getting out there and enjoying life a little bit. Over New Year's, I had a little jaunt around Central Park in New York, which was
Okay.
really freaking cool. I
Yeah.
spent the day just kind of riding around, taking the subways, and doing that. That 6 mile loop was absolutely the peak of my
Yeah.
little day trip that I took.
Yeah, for
So.
sure. We were just up there. Me, Kareem Phillips, Canito, Brian Blackson, Fred, City Surfer. I think was there. There was a whole bunch of us, and that was my first time in Central Park. It that
It's
is beautiful.
It's gorgeous. I had no idea, like, going in, like, I just did it on a whim. I was, like, on 6th Ave
Okay,
at a coffee shop, and I was like, "What can I do for the next, like, 10 hours?" Because I was waiting for my train to go back
okay.
home, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hit up Central Park. I'm already here. I'll ride in traffic." Canito is a big fan of riding in traffic, and let me tell you, he would have
Yeah,
loved how much traffic I was riding in.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was a little intense for me. I'm used to the Philly traffic. I was not ready for New
yeah.
York traffic.
New York traffic is intense. New York traffic is intense. Saying it makes the back of my knees itch, and tingle.
Oh, dude, my legs were weak. I was getting a little bit of the shakes on the. I was like trying not to get the speed wobbles because I'm like just trying to keep pace with everyone. But
Right.
the bike lanes were nice. So,
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, look, we going back. As soon as this weather breaks,
oh,
we let's
absolutely.
let's go back.
We'll hit
All
up the
right.
city. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll get the whole crew together.
Speaking of going back, let's go back to 3 weeks ago when you were just here and kind of pick up where we left off a little bit. Now, I know we were
Yeah.
talking about the Firefly receiver, I think. Um,
Yeah, let's see. Going back, I think we touched on part 3 of the full
Mr. Temple.
guide that I was doing. So,
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and I guess I'll be sharing my screen today.
Now,
So, we'll
ladies
do
and
a little
gentlemen,
guided tour.
for everyone who doesn't know, who missed the last episode, let me just bring you up to speed a little bit. The guy on the screen, his name is Carlos. And way back in like 2017 or so, about 10 years ago, when Eastgate was just jumping off, and it wasn't even called Eastgate then. As a matter of fact, I think we were still calling it electric skateboarding or something. This man right here, Carlos, was at the forefront. And I found the Lazarus pit. I threw him in it, and he's back alive again. And now he's showing us the beautiful history that he's created before we move into the future, because the future is coming. The
The
future is
future's looking
definitely
bright.
the future's looking bright. I need shades, maybe purple mirror shades.
I wasn't ready for my props. I would have thrown them on right here. Uh, but yes, so last time we got about right up to here. We hit up with the part 3 of the bill. Oh, there's my mirrored shades. Couldn't have timed that any better.
Getting the time that
Um,
anybody.
we got through part 3 of the Firefly Eastgate build guides that I was doing. I think particular video finished up with building out screens, and I was doing a lot of work like creating diagrams and just upgrading things and figuring out how to get this remote built in a way and describe it in a way that anyone could. That was the goal of the whole video process. So,
So,
uh,
was it did you do that? I mean, like, could I go back to those videos and make a remote?
in hindsight, I would say I got close, but I don't think I fully achieved my goals of creating a remote that anyone could build. It's
Okay.
a little it was a very involved process, and like moving into part 4, you'll see uh you'll see my little workshop here in a moment, but in the let's where was it? Once I get started with the build, where's that parts bin? There's a parts bin that, yeah, you can see my parts bin right here, where there was a lot of components, there was a lot of pieces to the puzzle that I feel is a big barrier to entry. So I think I got like maybe 7/10 of the way there. Like, this is a doable project. You can totally go back and build your own Firefly if you really, really wanted to. Like, I still have spare parts floating around. Um, but I don't think my ultimate goal was fully realized with this build guide.
Okay. Yeah, that was my question.
Whoops, did not mean to full screen that. Um, but yeah, so if looking back at this old at my old videos and things, part 4 was very much a I'm gonna say like a pivotal point for my channel and my
Okay.
place in the social media landscape. It was really it was the last video that I had that we'll set it to 2x speed so it can just play on in the background a little bit. It was the last video I um, that I did that was ESK8 centered, really. That I was like focused solely on making ESK8 content.
Okay.
So it kind of I don't want to call it my magnum opus because I do have one video I think that artistically I'm most proud of, but it was definitely the turning point for my channel. So you'll see a lot of the. So one of the big issues that I had with this part in particular was just how complicated the assembly process was. You can see
Hmm.
that there's like 5 different conductors there and wires that I had to figure out a good way to route for the receivers. And this was just down to I didn't do any of this design work. This was just what had to be done to get the remotes working.
Hmm.
Um, I, I ultimately opted to learn how to. I ultimately learned how to create my own custom PCBs in order to simplify this when I started selling these way back when. So, um,
And how many did you sell?
I think I sold about 25 of them.
That's darn good,
So,
bro.
yeah, yeah. I sold kits. I sold pre-completed sold pre-completed builds. I probably did 12 kits, and the rest were complete.
Hmm.
And it was a very we'll call it fun side gig. I did it for the summer. I spent the entire summer basically building these remotes and shipping them out to people all over the country. I had a handful of international purchasers too, which was really cool at the time for me because like this was let's see what year was this? This was 2018.
18.
So this is me home from college. What year? That would have been like my sophomore year of college. Um, just spending it at home, writing my e-skate and building e-skate remotes, and like that was my dream. That was like my dream job. It was so cool to get to do this.
One day I gotta get you and Mike Beard in the same room, and I'm just gonna sit back and shut up and listen as you two, because your stories are so similar, but he went viral where you didn't.
He kept it up. I Mike Beard was a really big inspiration for me at the time. I spent a lot of time watching his content back in 2018 as well.
Oh, yeah.
Jan, this was in 2018 that I shot that. Um, yeah, I have always wanted to meet Mike Beard, and I have not had a chance to go to his big ESK8 con yet, but we'll get there. We'll get there
We'll get there.
eventually. So yeah, so like I was saying, moving on from Eastgate content, 2018 was the Firefly build guide part 4. Uh, the very next video I did was something entirely new. So 2019, moving into I had apparently a 2-year gap. So I dropped off the face of the planet with my Firefly build guides. I vaguely remember this. And I was just focused mostly on school, I
I was
think.
about to, yeah. Yeah.
It was, yeah, I had an extended, uh, just an extended time of just focusing mostly on school, finish my education, finish out the degree. And when I came back, it was the start of the COVID pandemic.
Yep.
So that was ultimately what kickstarted me back into making some videos way back when.
Okay.
And my first video back was this really cool concept that I came up with, which was I love Apple hardware. I'm a huge nerd. I've got the iPhone, I have the MacBook. There's a Mac Mini over in the corner somewhere, um, and I was obsessed with this idea that I could build something entirely custom, and I wanted to take an old broken Apple Cinema display and make it like PC compatible because like I'm also a big PC gamer. So you can even see on here I'm using my MacBook when I shot this footage. Um, and the main goal with this project was I had a checklist for myself. It was like replicate the entire Apple experience, make the monitor usable, make it on a budget, get audio, video, cameras, webcam, microphone, get all of that stuff working. And I went like all in on it. Um, the project did end up petering out a little bit, but we can get there. I'll just jump around here a little bit. I had some really cool troubleshooting and planning stuff that's all documented in this video. And it was really the first time that I tried to get out of my comfort zone as a content creator,
Okay.
um, because this wasn't a build guide per se, like the Firefly was, or like something simple like an unboxing or like a review. This was me making a thing and trying to just share how I did it and document the process as opposed to trying to explain and teach. So it was a bit of a pivot, and I also tried to up my production values, which was a big aspect of this for me. I wanted to grow as a video creator, like post college. So I wanted to really work on a lot of visual aspects to the channel.
Hmm.
So during this time, I also had a lot of inspirations. The Apple Cinema display was an entirely original concept from my end, but I stole a video format called Quick Builds from a guy called DIY Perks.
Okay.
This was my first attempt at it. So this guy over here, he does a lot of types of videos that I was trying to emulate at the time. Does lots of custom electronic builds and fancy things. Uh, and so I used that as my inspiration, and I started to push towards this new quick builds format. Uh, it was an interesting diversion, I would say. I spent most of this summer just like trying to create video ideas and try and implement them as I went. I believe I had a ultimate goal of like one video every week or every 2 weeks. I was trying to start a video schedule. Like I had intended to become I use the word influencer very lightly, but I was intending to be more of a content creator than I ultimately became.
You know what you're
And
doing to that monitor is just sacrilegious.
yes, this was a this right here was very nerve-wracking, if I will say, tearing apart a whole monitor. And it was really funny. This is actually the monitor for the Apple Cinema display. So like I had managed to create a synergy between one project I was working on that split off into its whole other separate project, which is something that I still do a lot. Um, like we'll touch on the future, but this little the little remote that that George Bennett is working on and that I am trying to create my own branch for was also an offshoot of another project that we'll touch on closer to the end of my YouTube tenure. Um, it was
All right. I'll wait.
yes. We'll
I'll
get
wait.
there. I got to tease it. I got to tease it just a little bit. But so this video was mostly a way for me to upcycle some of the hardware that I had on hand from the Apple Cinema display project, and also create like a lighting piece. As you can tell, I don't have the greatest lighting, and I didn't have the greatest lighting then either. And so this DIY LED panel gave me the opportunity to have a more consistent, almost ring light quality. It was like almost like an infinity mirror when you looked into it. It was like an infinite void space. It's
Okay.
a really cool display, really cool little like light, the like a desk light. But I did have to get rid of it because
I was
I
about to
just
say,
didn't
listen, I was
have
about to say, and where is it right now? Because I was waiting for you to say over in
ah
this corner right here and pull it out.
over here, and I'll just pull it out from this corner back here. Yeah, no, I think it's
It's
in
so
the garage. It's either in the garage or I did have to throw it away ultimately. I actually cannot remember where it is. I love that light panel though.
mm.
But, you know, you move on. Um, so looking at our
You move
timestamps
on
here.
in different directions at the same time.
I went in a lot of directions. The ADHD was strong this summer. I was on all of the side quests. I was running amok wherever I could. Not to mention I was skating all through all of this as well. It was mid-pandemic. What can I say? I tried to fill the time in a way that was meaningful to me because it was just a lot of uncertainty back then.
Yeah.
But so yeah, and so I continued with the cinema display project. I ended up coining it the ACDC project. I thought this was a really funny title. It worked out really well because my my title and my thumbnail format ended up being really good choices. It drove engagement a little bit, um, and kind of gave it like, oh, you know, it's not the band ACDC, but like it was. I don't know. I thought it was funny. So you can see also the dramatic reenactments. I was doing lots of little things to try and boost my my production quality. Stuff like I was acting as I was doing stuff like lots of on-screen text. So I was trying to really push my personality on screen on top of being a screen presence.
Hmm.
So there was editor me, there was post me, and then there was talent me
Right.
essentially.
Gotta love those hats.
So lots of teardowns, lots of custom equipment here. I this whole obsession with me taking apart electronics has been a lifelong thing. My mother would always say, "Ah, yeah, he's totally going to be like an engineer or something because he loves taking stuff apart. He took apart the vacuum when he was like 12 years old just to see if he could, and then put it back together." Uh, yeah, sorry, mom. Uh,
Yeah. I've been there. I take stuff apart in a heartbeat and then like, I don't know if I can
so
put it all back.
oh yes, oh yeah. We've definitely had a handful of occasions where I go, "Oh crap, I don't know how to put this back together now." But thankfully, the cinema display project was not one of them. I had to learn a lot about monitor technology and how power supplies work and that sort of thing. Most memorable thing from this project, the fact that, spoiler alert, I never finished it is probably the most memorable aspect of it. It's still sitting in my garage. I have about 25 I have about 25 minutes of unreleased footage where I did ultimately check all the boxes where I got the display working, I got the audio working, I got the microphone working, I got the webcam working, I got the power supply working, and I routed all the cables and I got it all the whole thing powered up and running on my MacBook.
Okay.
But I never edited the footage. I just kept sitting on it, and it feels like it's been far too long. Maybe I'll finally go back and finish the footage, but I did have an unfortunate mishap where I lost a lot of my key visuals when I lost my MacBook hard drive. But so this episode, part 3 of this of this project, just shows off my real first attempt at pushing it yes, spoiler, it was a success, but I never finished the project. So part 3 really shows off right there at the beginning. I'm really, really proud of this. This was a custom animation I did, and it was a lot of work that I was trying to get trying to polish the video in a professional manner, but also this was pre-work for a series that comes a little bit later. I wanted to have like a cohesive visual style for the whole channel. And so
Yeah.
I was thinking lots of animated outlines, tracings, that kind of thing, that reflected the project that I was working on. And even going through this back now, I'm like, I you can see that there is a concerted effort that I cleaned up this desk. I was framing my footage. I
Right.
was trying to keep things much more higher. I was trying to go for a much higher quality than in previous videos. Like in the last part, you saw in the very first video that I posted, that Meepo unboxing, you saw that it was in my bedroom, just like on a bed, and
Right.
like not much thought was given. And so
I
even
get
in
it. I
this
get it.
that shot right there, that's motion compensated footage. Like I was learning a lot of video production techniques at the time.
I was I don't know if I ever told you this. I was working on something about a year or two ago. I was trying to put a computer monitor on a skateboard deck. I wanted I wanted a monitor on a deck. I was working with some guys in Pakistan, I think it was. Somewhere over where it was like 20, it was the next day or the day after. I forget, but I was completely in a whole new time zone for my work with these guys. And everything they kept sending me was just like if you ever see the Uber, little thing, your Uber driver's here and it flashes by, just like that little 8-bit LCD screen or whatever. That's all they could keep giving me. But I really wanted, even now they've got, like, somebody's got one. One of those companies has a, and I think it might be my company, right? My competition. But I was trying to do it, and then somebody else is doing it now, but it still isn't what I was trying to do. It doesn't look as good as I want an actual monitor on your deck. Um, but yeah, it's not there yet. But maybe you can do it.
Monitor on a deck.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll send you the company because somebody's got one there. I can't remember the name, but they're advertising on Facebook, and all they give you is, like, just a little eye that blink, or Snoopy running across the board. Just simple stuff. It's not like, really good quality video. It's not 1080. It's not even 1080 or 740. It's like really handheld Nintendo type.
I think
Before.
what else would I want on what else would I want on a monitor on my skateboard though? You know what would be really sick? Like I guess like a compass app would be really freaking cool. Just to have
Right.
like the arrow or or I'm picturing like we do like a crazy taxi style we do like a crazy taxi style event where like we could get them like cell connected or something. We'll set up waypoints. That would be that would be an interesting project.
Yeah.
That would be a really interesting project, Neva.
Yeah. It's a great idea. My brain isn't big enough to make it happen. I got the idea, but your brain's big enough to actually start soldering some wires together.
I'm picturing even. Hmm. What is it? Is it the Daviga?
Right,
I'm picturing
right,
that, like just
exactly,
like one of those. Like it doesn't even have to be
exactly.
big for
So,
what I'm picturing. A little
yeah, I want
compass.
that
Like I
all
I love a.
all that information on your deck. You know, your top speed, all of that type of stuff, all your stats. I mean, you know, you can flip through it, have the whole deck just showing, you know, your max speed, or even imagine if it was your GPS, you know?
Dude, I was just about to say, what if we had a GPS and like you could put your Strava map down there or something, and you could see the route that you're tracing while you're doing it.
Yeah. All
Like,
right.
ooh.
Cut this part out and we'll just everybody watching flash.
Forget we said this. Forget we
Yes.
said that there's a company. This is copyrighted now. We're patenting this
Yes.
right now.
Look into the light, everybody. Okay. And you had a good day. Nothing to do with ESK8.
Oh my gosh.
Just been flashed. You don't remember anything other than C Bridges and his LCD screen. But yeah,
All right,
let's talk about that later.
we'll come back to that. We'll circle back around. I'm excited. This sounds like hmm. You
Yeah.
got you got the creative juices flowing now. All right, speaking of creative juices, we'll
Speaking of
we'll
creative juices,
we'll bring this back around. Uh
thank you. Thank you.
so after I was working on the Apple Cinema display, I mean, it's mid-COVID. I'm working on my production quality, so I decided I wanted to get back to the ESK8 stuff, but I it Pennsylvania is not really known for its bright, sunny weather, but the summers are hot. It is bright. So I wanted to do something really cool and unique that that I had seen, but that I had never thought about. And it was called a variable ND filter. So it
Okay.
stands for neutral density. So I wanted a way to have sunglasses for my camera in order to be able to I'm not sure anyone would have really appreciated the difference in that before and after shot, but this is the same exposure, but I changed the depth of field with it, so it allows for a more cinematic effect with the same amount of light output. So the sun could be dimmed and let me close down or open up my aperture at the same time.
Mm,
So I didn't want to pay a crazy amount of money for a for a real variable ND. So I decided to go out of my way and create my own. And I created a little animation based on the design that I ultimately went with. And you can even see here, I'm demonstrating the variable ND. That darkening effect was actually done in camera. That was not like a post editing effect that I did. Um, so this was a really cool project for me to be able to learn a bunch of product design,
mm.
and it was a lot of 3D CAD work, and that you can see right there, my ultimately finished product. Um, I learned a lot about 3D design and CAD, and Fusion 360 was my primary software, and I still use it to this day. And it's something very, very important to me. And I'm really, really glad that I ended up going with this project because learning about tolerances and just the various types of manufacturing that can be done. Like I was learning all about like additive and subtractive types of manufacturing. So I got a 3D printer specifically um,
And what year
for
did
this
you have a
project.
3D printer?
Oh, I would have got my Cetus 3D. I guess this would have been 2020. I'd always loved 3D printing at school, but oh, I didn't get it for this specifically. I would have been upgrading my printer at this point. But I had access to a 3D printer while I was in college. The library offered the service. And so I think at this point, this is when I was trying to step up the quality of prints that I was doing
Okay.
because the fireflies were all done on my homemade printer. So I would have had it 7 years ago. But besides the point, the variable ND filter was another quick build effectively, and it continued my push into higher quality video. And yeah, after that, This would have been that was June. So late into June, you can see I have a little channel teaser trailer. Um, oh, Jan. My variable ND filter costed, I want to say it was like maybe $15 in parts because all I had to do was I got one strip of polarizing film, and then the 3D print. If you ignore the cost of the printer and just account for the materials used, was like 50 cents worth of material to do the 3D print. So ultimately, like really cheap, like 20 bucks, 20 bucks at most to create
Yeah.
my variable ND, whereas a real glass variable ND would have been like, oh, at the time, like 80 to $100. So I saved a bunch of money in order to learn a bunch of really cool skills, but also have a product at the end of it that I used from then on.
Mm.
But yeah, so I did my little channel teaser trailer here. I am for people that don't know, I'm a communications major. I do TV and film, and so I did my little news teaser here where I was doing my little countdown. I thought this was a really cool way to lead into the trailer, um, and just showcased all of the projects I had worked on up until that point. But yeah, so that was my little teaser trailer for the channel, and was the thing I worked on directly after the ND filter. Moving on from that ND filter, though, the reason that I built it was specifically for the following video. It didn't get a lot of traction. I called it just an echo of ESK8's past because the video was all about my Pulse Echo, um, and the guys that started the company and my history with them. I spent probably a solid 6 hours making this video. I had this really cool animation that I did that was all like inspired just by like how everything looked. Um, and I This was my attempt at creating almost a historical piece because I documented everything about the Echo. I was one of only 20 people, 20 of production boards that went out,
I
and
was about to say
I was
that's what makes it historical. It's history. You were one of 20.
yeah, it was a product that was very near and dear to my heart. It was my first real e-skate, like my first real higher end e-skate. Like I love my Meepo V1, but it was very much a almost I'm not going to call it a toy, but it was only it was an entry level board. Whereas this was my first mid level board,
Wow.
running on dual Vesks, 90 millimeter hub motors, um, and yeah. So I got out onto my favorite trail. I spent several hours just out here skating along the trail and using my variable ND filter in order to make it so that I could get the shot exposures that I wanted to. And just exploring the story of Pulse and how they were Michigan based. They had started teasing the board on Reddit, on the electric skateboarding subreddit. And I had been really interested in potentially getting one. And ultimately, I was trying to work with them before, spoiler, they went out of business, unfortunately. They had some weird production issues that I ultimately had to also go out of my way to fix, but we'll get there. I believe I
Yeah.
do touch on it in a later video. But this was a really cool departure from what I had been doing up until that point. I hadn't been super involved with any other companies before, or really even the e-skate industry as a whole. So this video just really, it felt like almost my this was my love letter to a company that was gone,
Yeah.
effectively.
That's
And
happens. It happens a lot these days, unfortunately. My one
I
guy, Jarrett with Cavity, he loves Cavity, but Cavity ain't Cavity. That Cavity got pulled. That tooth got pulled.
unfortunately, yeah. But this was also a departure of my video making style because I had a friend. I actually dragged my friend out to come shoot this with me because there was just so much of it, so much footage that I wanted to get. this trail that I'm on is the 202 Nature Trail in Pennsylvania, out in the Philly suburbs, and it's like 12 miles long or something. And so I needed him here to be able to take the cuts for me. He doesn't make an appearance on camera, but he is the one that's starting all my recordings for me and giving me the action cues and
Hmm.
helping me with my timing cues too. So lots of claps and like because I didn't have like one of those clacker things to do my audio sync up in post, but that's a really interesting aspect of all of my productions, up to and even beyond this point was, I was using a separate audio recorder. I had a wired lavalier microphone, and I was just using my iPhone 8 as a remote recorder in my pocket, and I had my little lavalier, like, just pinned to my shirt, um, and so I did that, and I synced all my audio in post for everything, everything that you're seeing. But yeah, so this was oh, I guess I can also touch on you might think that the colors of this video are a little bit weird. Um but that was actually an artistic choice on my part. I decided because I wear the fancy blue mirrored shades that I
I
wanted
want
people to see exactly what I was seeing. So I did my best to match the color grade on the video to what I was seeing in my sunglasses in real life. So
Right,
the video, like the color of the grass and the color of the sky and everything there was as accurate as I could get it to what I was actually perceiving while I was there riding down this trail and stopping to take video footage. But so it was my first real it was my first real attempt at doing color grading as well, so that constant theme of me trying to push the production quality envelope that I was doing at the time. Um, and you'll see here, right here, I cut and the video is no longer color graded because I was matching. I took the sunglasses off. You can see them on my shirt there, and
uh-huh.
once again, once they're on, color grading goes back on. So it was just a cool little touch that I don't think a lot of people would have noticed or even cared about, but just one of the little tiny things that I was doing to try and just push myself artistically. As you can tell, this footage is a little bit shaky, so that's my friend. He's holding the camera for me, and he does my little pan out for me, and yeah,
Mm.
just a really, really cool project that I do wish more people had seen and been able to appreciate, in the same way that I wish more people had been able to ride on the Pulse Echo, but, uh, just a relic of the past at this point.
Right, right.
So, yeah, um, going on from there, we are getting very, very close to what I ended up being ultimately, pumping out my constant videos for. But we had another quick build before we got to there. I was, as you can tell, very obsessed with my video quality. This video in particular, I am very, very proud of the shot composition, the layout, the lighting. This that little cut right there, the back and forth where I have like two cameras is something
Yes.
that you're about to see come to the forefront in my video quality. But I had decided I didn't want to keep using my big DSLR for video content and video footage, and I wanted something a little bit nicer than just using an iPhone.
Uh-huh.
And so I found this really cool anamorphic video lens that I thought would give a unique look to my video production style.
Right,
And an anamorphic video lens is what it does is it squishes the video footage that you have so that in post you can stretch it back out to a super widescreen. So oh, and you can see in the background there, there's my
just
LCD.
else.
No, but you've got some sick gear, man.
Yeah,
Uh,
I just picked this up.
but
This is for our trip next week.
we're keeping real quiet about the trip next week, aren't we?
Well, you've got we'll get there.
We could talk about that. But so I had to do a custom I did an entire custom 3D design for this because, I wanted it to be compatible with the phone case that I was using at the time. So,
Uh-huh.
this video was just my little, dedicated way of doing this, and you can see here that the effect ends up being, it gives you a super cinematic, widescreen, movie-esque shot, and, I ultimately end up not really utilizing this particularly, but, I was really proud of how the product ultimately turned out.
Yeah.
So, just more little quick builds and things that I was just kinda working on, and so this was early July, so we're still in the middle of COVID lockdown, so I'm just taking any and every single inspiration that I can and taking any side quests.
Were you getting any lens flare on there?
Yes, you can see the, let's see,
I thought I saw it. Let me see. I gotta zoom in a little bit to see. Or maybe I'm
let's
not.
see, I coulda swore right here, you can see
Okay, yeah, yeah,
you get
yeah.
you get the really cool that's what I wanted. I really wanted that cool, like, the new Star Treks with the super long lens flares and everything, and I thought that would be really cool for content creation. And, like, you're riding on the skateboard at night, and you'll see, like, the flashes from your shred lights with, like, the big
Yeah.
glare, and I had big, big aspirations for what I was gonna do with this lens, but ultimately did not really pan out.
Mm.
Because after this, we can move on to an aspect of my channel that I think I should have kept up with. I mentioned DIY perks earlier as one of my key inspirations for my channel. Moving
Uh-huh.
in the midst of COVID, I got super into virtual reality. So, I was following this creator called Thrill Seeker, and he does lots of virtual reality and gaming content, and he has this series called Tuesday Newsday. And so when I was just thinking, how can I utilize my college degree in a way that also lets me, like, indulge in my e-skate hobby? And I ultimately came up with the idea that, oh, I'll do a weekly news show about all of the current events that are happening in Eastgate. And I went and I looked around. I couldn't find anyone doing this, particularly in the format that I was going for. I was going for a more news centric approach. So,
Mhm.
even down to, like, the production value of, like, you see, I'm looking back and forth. I'm doing, like, a multi-camera setup. um, I'm doing that silly over the shoulder with the graphics and all of that nonsense, and my design language that I was talking about earlier with the animated lines and all of that kind of stuff. Um,
Right.
I was really pushing to try and create almost like a studio atmosphere. I had the big workshop that was a perfect space to create a an actual functional studio at home. And so I spent a lot of time iterating on this style, and I ultimately decided that I was gonna do, like, 3 I think I did, like, 3 top stories every single week. I tried to find something from any of the big Eastgate companies. Um, this was still mid-COVID, and you can see my headlines. I was using headlines for the first couple of videos, um, and I had decided, like, I had, like, the 3 pictures from every single episode, and I was documenting the industry at a time when it was still pretty new, really, like July of 2020, mid-lockdown, and just lots of things happening. This was, like, post the boosted closure. XR General Hospital would have just been opening up at that time, I think. Um, the X-Way Wave it had its release date leaked, like, that kinda thing. I was so just in tuned with everything going on in the space, at least as much as that I could be, and I was trying to put spotlights on things that I just thought were really cool.
Mhm.
But this format was ultimately, I'll say maybe a little doomed. I shot it using just a single camera and actually this very light that I'm like flashbanging myself with a little bit. Um, I won a contest from another YouTuber called like Marcus Pix, I think was his name. So he mailed me 3 of these photography lights that, and you can see that I'm well lit. I stepped up my game on that aspect. I finally had some lighting. I was really putting effort into shot comp and that sort of thing. Uh, but yeah, so that's July of 2020. It had been 2 years since part 4 of the Firefly ESK8 guide, and in the comment section of basically every video I published would always just be people asking for the next part of my Firefly my Firefly guide because I was the Firefly guy. Uh, and so I finally relented in 2020, and I July 22nd of 2020 with my crazy hair and all my new things that I had learned, and I brought it to the part 5 of the guide. Uh, this part of the guide, I think, was dedicated solely to programming an e-skate, your e-skate Vesk. And I even said in the comments, I was like, there will be questions, and I always intended to do a part 6 that was going to be like a troubleshooting guide, but that's probably not going to happen at this point since spoilers. My ultimate goal can be achieved with another remote design, but um, this was really just a way for me to close out my involvement with the Firefly and just button up the loose ends that I had left sitting for like 2 years.
Right.
But yeah, this was really cool. I had actually gotten the Pulse Echo set up with it, and I used that as my base for everything. And you could see all of the cool wipes and footage and things that I was trying to work through. And
That,
yeah,
that's the color changing remote, right?
that is the color change. Wait, I believe that may be the color changing remote. Yes, I think the that was the shell that during the winter would turn baby blue out in the cold when I'm out riding, and it would leave my handprint on the wherever I was holding it because I would ride without gloves. So
Mm-hmm.
really, really, really cool filament and really cool aspect of this particular iteration of the remote that I was very proud of.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, back when I was a kid, we had what was called a mood ring, and it basically was just following your body temperature. And we all thought that was the coolest thing in the world. A ring that could adjust to your mood. The color would adjust to your mood. This man, 30 years later, comes up with a remote that almost does the same thing. It changes that was genius, man. Like, I don't know why. That's why I say you got a big brain. Like, I don't know anybody else that even, you know how they say great minds think alike, nobody else is thinking like you, so that means your mind is like the greatest because, well, maybe probably, close to mine. But yeah, man, you are a treasure. I mean, not only your history, but where you're going and how you in the future, how you think. So keep it moving. I'm sorry, I just had to give you a little bit of praise right there because you really are like a very talented young man. And you're just getting started. Like, how old are you? 30 something?
Oh, come on. You calling me Unc? I'm 28. Come on
Okay.
now.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I was trying to be correct. I mean, if I had to guess, I'd have said like 25, but because you got a baby face, but e-
Yeah.
yeah. So, but go ahead. I'm sorry. I digress.
No, 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 you're good. You're good. I mean, just we've just gotten the background, some more of the Eastgate news stuff. It was a very consistent style of video for me, and just I put it out every single week. I see you, e-boarder, in the comments. I remember I saw all your comments, and
Right.
I had little bloopers in here and things at the end of every video, I think. and it was just a very interesting time, to be sure. So it was always my intention to do that show weekly, but I had one other E-skate, or I had another quick build, but I managed to center this quick build on E-skate in particular. I wanted to repair a part that I had broken on my Pulse Echo. The top of the battery is removable on this guy, and I had accidentally shorted the USB charging supply on the top of it, and so
Mhm.
I decided that I wanted to do a full repair of that. The company had already gone under at this point, as my little retrospective showed, and I had to learn a bunch about voltage regulation and power supply switching and soft latching switches versus a toggle switch, or rather, yeah, a toggle switch. And this was a really, really cool project for me to go into much more of the like the electronic engineering side of things that I hadn't quite done before. That, like, the Firefly remote was cool, but that was an open source project that I was just essentially following the guide for. This was really my first full build out that I designed and spec'd out myself. And so I found a parts source. Pololu is one of is my favorite electronic source. They're a Hawaiian based company, and it just it all ended up coming together in a really cool way, that, like, I found the perfect parts and they all fit exactly where they needed to go, and they all just squeeze in to the top of this cap. And this cap, you'll notice, unlike the videos with the Pulse Echo, is the wrong color.
Oh,
It was originally a black cap. Uh, Pulse ultimately went under because these caps kept snapping. They used the wrong type of plastic, and they were too brittle in the cold Pennsylvania winters, which was very funny considering they were a Michigan-based company and they hadn't run into any of those problems beforehand.
right,
But
right.
uh, I learned a lot during this project. I was reverse engineering a bunch of things. I was trying my best to like like almost upcycle or recycle parts from the original board, and just try and create my own effective product, basically, that I could use inside of my Echo battery. But yeah, this was so this video was just really interesting. This little battery tester that I had found was a really interesting design problem because I wanted it to be able to tell me my battery percentages, but I didn't want to have to turn the battery on. And so I ultimately found that I could run the voltage directly out of the battery into this battery tester because it was not a constant current source. And you can see a bunch of 3D prints and things that I did, and I have a lot of old 3D prints. I still do that to this day, where I just have all of my iterations and I keep them around for a little while. But
Mhm.
so yeah, and so you can see there that was the original shell before I smashed it for like the third time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so beyond that, I started putting I guess I always had the date in the video for Eastgate News, for Friday news. Um, Not a whole lot changed between the format of week to week, but I did end up adding. Oh, look, I even added my own little tag. I started pushing my social medias accounts a little harder. So this was late July. You can see BKB Duo versus the X-Way. Is that the Wave? I think that's the Wave V1, or no, Flex, X-Way Flex, the Flex V1.
Perfect. Thanks.
So yeah, I was covering a lot of news, and the format was very consistent. That's pretty much all I really have to say on Friday News Roundup. I don't think I did anything super crazy beyond that. Oh, look, here was a Location change. I shot this in my bed, my childhood bedroom. Uh, yeah, not much more to say on Eastgate News, but I guess that does lead me into what ultimately was the last project that I ever worked on publicly, anyway, and tried to document. I was absolutely in love with the full production units from Riptide, the Riptide R1. But by August of 2020, I think Riptide was already winding down. The Riptide ESK8 company was already winding down. They had been out of stock of most of their parts. And I was messaging with their support team to try and see about if I could source parts for their things, and they ended up leading me over to their actual manufacturer, their OEM, which was really cool of them. And they got me in touch with them, and so I started this journey to create my own DIY Riptide R1 using as many of the same parts that I could source as I could. So I managed to get a deck, I managed to get the motors, I managed to get the trucks and the drive system. Um, and I opted to go with these really cool clear blue wheels from oh, I don't remember who makes the wheels, but really cool translucent blue wheels because I was like, oh, it's a Riptide. I want it to be thematically accurate. Like I'm riding on waves, so the wheels have to be blue. And this was before Orangutan had released their blue urethane formula. And oh,
Yeah.
you can see, oh, there's the lights. There's the lights I was talking about that I won in a contest. But yeah, this was a really, really cool project for me to have started. Um, this deck is extremely sought after nowadays because you really can't get them, at least not with the Riptide logo anymore, unless you can find a lightly used board. But I have only seen one in my Facebook Marketplace searches. But this was a really cool project. This brought me full circle back into the Eastgate fold. I felt like, because I had been I'm not going to say obsessed, but I was so focused on just like production boards and consumer goods at the time, as opposed to really keeping up with the DIY scene. And
Right.
this helped me get way more in tune with the DIY scene, the capabilities of things, and yeah. So really cool set of things. I had a Meepo City Rider for this news day in August of 2020. This would have been really late in the year. Uh, I think that was a little inside joke in the thumbnail that I had broken my watch at the time or something silly. Like
Hmm.
yeah, lots of just little silly things. And so I kept up with Eastgate News. So Eastgate News ran from July of 2020 through middle of September, and that was, let's see, the last Eastgate News, September 18th, was shot with all of the things that I had been working on up until that point. I had fancy lights, I had transitions ready. I even had a script, I believe. I believe this was the point where I gave up on trying to memorize all of the stories that I wanted to cover. And I just decided I'm just going to read them off my phone. Nobody really cares at this point. It's pulling
Right.
about 300 views per episode.
It's
And
funny
so I
how we
let,
the minute things and everybody else is, dude, hold your phone or don't. Who cares?
yep, yep. It was very much I don't think this ultimately matters. So really, really cool time. Oh, I documented everything. I believe I had links to everything that was like happening too. So if you want a time capsule really for that summer of COVID, my Eastgate News stuff documented everything that happened that entire summer. But yeah, ultimately, I believe so. September of 2020, I would have been just restarting school. I took a fifth year, so I went back to university. to finish up my degree.
Okay.
So that was ultimately what put the halt on Friday's weekly news roundups. But I did try and create one last. I had one last video in October. I had one last video in October of 2020 for the DIY Riptide. I had learned a lot while in the design process of this board. I had found out that the motors that I picked were too high of a kV rating, so they would have blown up my Vesks if I had tried to use them. Um, I found out that the new motors that I ordered were not going to work on the motor mounts that I had from Riptide because Riptide used these really weird non-standard mounts. I ended up having to go and have someone custom CNC some aluminum mounts for me, which you can see in this video. And I ultimately, what did I end up on? I had like Flip Sky motors that I decided I wanted to use. So I went from just generic brand, non-branded motors to a very well-known brand at this point. You can see I love my little transitions. I did so many of those over over my tenure on YouTube. Um, but this was ultimately where the Riptide R1 build log ends.
What kind of
Just
battery?
part 2 in 2020. Uh, I frankly I ran out of money.
Okay.
I had no money to keep going with this project. This was a really expensive project for me at the time, and just because of how many parts that I bought that I couldn't ultimately use, I just decided that I had to stop here. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was very unfortunate. Uh, I was I was very close to being able to get a functioning product. I had picked out new ESCs. I had look. I even got as far as replacing all these bullet connectors because I think they were like 7 or 8 millimeter bullet connectors. Um, I went out of my way. I tweaked the mounts so that they would all fit. But you ultimately, publicly anyway, never got to see my motors running. I did get them running at one point eventually, but little known fact: when you ship things from China and if they're not packaged well,
Yeah.
the trucks can bend. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Uh, so ultimately, I shelved them because those mounts are that is not straight. My wheels would have been like wobbling off way off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I kept them around as a little trophy. So it's definitely shelf worthy at the very least.
I got to ship my board to Cali next week. I sent the battery ahead of time, and I'm going to take the board with me on the plane. But I still need to protect the trucks.
Yes.
Protect the trucks.
Please protect the trucks. I was so upset when I realized that my trucks had just been destroyed because J King doesn't make any of that Riptide stuff anymore. Oh, spoiler. J King was the company that was doing Riptide's OEM stuff for them. Um, and I couldn't just go and order another pair because I was also out of money. But yeah, ultimately, that project stalled out 5 years ago, and I've only just recently gotten back into it. But we could touch on that in a moment. But so Nevo, what's up? What's up with this? Where's this trip going? You're going to LA. Do we want to talk about that a little bit, or are we keeping that
Oh,
still hush hush?
LA. No, we can talk about it. We're going to Paris, California. Is that LA still?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't know the
Yeah.
coast that well.
Yeah. I mean, Cali is so big. It's so long. It's a really big state. And but yeah, we're going out there. A couple of dragon riders. Tori, Jared, me, Alan, Tom, Anthony Silva, Mia and Michael LeBou, couple of other guys, I believe. And I invited like 33 friends. So we'll see who shows up. But we're going out there to test our all-wheel drive. We have an all-wheel drive. Yeah, an all-wheel drive, all-terrain Dragon. So
Dude, a
we'll be
quad motor dragon. Dude, that's gotta be absolutely sick on the trails.
we'll be testing that out. giving our feedback. And then we got the racetrack, so we'll be practicing for ESK8. Everybody will be tuning their boards, getting their bushings right, lowering their decks or whatever, because you can actually mount the deck underneath the trucks to get the deck lower to the street asphalt, and give you a better center of gravity, because the everything's in line with the axles at that point. Yeah, they get lower, so it's really stable. It's kind of like, when you a drop through deck, but you're dropping it even more.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love my drop through decks. Oh, so
exactly.
good.
Yep. So we'll be practicing, riding, tuning, and creating tons of content, which is why I bought the anamorphic lens. I got a
Dude,
24
it's
millimeter f2.8, so it's pretty good for low light. It's not a I didn't really want to go full 1.8 with the darkness,
no, you should be
because
fine.
yeah. So and it's manual. It's a manual lens, so that's going to be really fun. Um, I've been studying it a lot. It was a $750 lens like 5 years ago. I got it for probably half less than half of that.
Ooh, we love a good thrift. Ooh,
Yeah,
you know what? We're gonna have to do. We'll have to. You're gonna have to let me use that lens so we can do a sizzle reel for Eastgate Racing Academy when you get back.
say less. Consider it done. Consider it done. Yeah, I'm shooting on a Sony A3. I think they call it A37 or A3. I don't know where they come up with all these names and stuff. But yeah, so going out there to shoot the content, and just have a good time, and learn. We'll be there for 3 days, night and day, on the Apex race course. I think Dina was just out there like 2 weeks ago, and she looked phenomenal. So yeah, I'm like really excited to get out there now. Um,
Yeah, I'm a little jealous. I wish I could have made it.
you got to start hanging with me. Like, we need more time together.
I
I need.
know. I know.
We need to get your schedule. My don't like our weekends need to line up and all that type of stuff.
Oh yeah.
But it's coming. It's coming, because if I have to kidnap you, it's coming. Take that
Jan, I
to
did my
Riverview
best. I did
Heights.
my best to document as much as I could.
Yeah, nah, you did great, man. You did great. You're just walking through down your memory lane gave me a lot of insight on what I need to do next week when it's my turn to document, because you know
Well,
you don't you only get one shot to hit record, and then it's like, I missed it. You know.
always be
So
recording, and that's why, if you want some more inspiration, uh, I have kind of made a bit of a return back to social media. My Instagram account now is actually home to most of the content,
okay,
including the Riptide build, which I decided to dig out of the I dug I dug out of the garage. So the Riptide build is now continuing. I will put together a full long form YouTube video about it at some point. But all of my content now is going through Instagram. I'm doing reels, I'm doing stories. So Neva, you should get some Instagram reels together while you're out there, and then we'll get some panoramic shots to throw on my account too when you
yeah,
come back.
yeah. So,
Like,
so
ooh,
when do I squeeze? You had mentioned it earlier. When you're working with those lenses, you got to squeeze the footage, unsqueeze the footage. Is that just in post that I say, okay, now unsqueeze? Or
yeah, yeah.
okay,
You'll unsqueeze and post. So
okay.
it's uh it's a really cool process, but yeah, so that's pretty much my entire Eastgate journey, and the future is looking very bright. I'm bringing back the Riptide build. I spent a lot of last year just out and about in Philly, riding with the various electric vehicle clubs here,
Hmm.
and I'm just trying to have a great time. And well, I guess I can mention. I guess I'll finally get on to mentioning this remote is
Yeah.
going back to the Firefly. This remote from George Bennett, the GB Lite, is in my mind, it's my spiritual successor to the Firefly. It's going to achieve that last like 30% that I couldn't quite get with the Firefly. It's like a four-piece build. You only need to 3D print and get like four pieces and some screws, and you're done. The whole thing is way streamlined, and I've already got a proof of concept. This remote works technically. I am intending to use it on the Riptide R1 rebuild once it's finally complete. So this was again another offshoot even of me restarting that project as I ended up going on the side quest and helping create this. And so George has been an absolute godsend for helping me learn how to code in a brand new like software and giving me tips and advice on how he designed the original project, whereas I'm trying to take now his process and distill it down to its most simple form.
Mm.
But yeah, so future is looking incredibly bright, Neva.
Yeah, I say so. I'd say so. It's going to be 83 degrees in Cali, so yeah, that's bright. That's very bright. Other than this white snow we got outside, I'll take that bright sun over this white snow any day.
Uh,
My
right,
cat
seeing
must my cat must have gotten to the catnip because he is off the chain right now. Yeah, like, bro, what's the problem? What's the problem? He wants to fight. Yeah, he got into the catnip. I gotta go check.
All right, Nevo. Well, do you wanna wrap this up then, so you can go fight your cat, or do
Yeah,
you have any other?
he's hopped up on nip on cat weed. Um, it's a weird place to transition and bow out, but my cat is destroying. What is he? Round Rayown. Okay, Rayown, and then he wants to lick. Yeah, he's on some stuff. I'm sorry, folks. Kitty's on kitty right now.
That's all right.
Girl,
That's all right. We'll have Suki add featuring Neva's cat to the titles of all the VODs.
come on, jump up on my shoulder. Jump up on my shoulder. You can make it. Yeah, you're going to jump right into the camera too. But yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this week's walk down memory lane with See the Bridges. And more to come in the future. We've got remotes, we've got boards that need remotes. I still got my 1.0 that needs a remote. And we gotta make sure my ESC is cool on my 2.0 because I get these weird full reverse. Like
Oh,
yeah, I'm riding and this thing will just if I get aggressive on the brakes, it just goes full speed reverse. It doesn't brake, it just reverses. Which is kind of crazy. But um yeah, thank you for spending time and showing us what's in your mind and you know, walking us down
of
that memory
course.
lane.
It's been an
Yeah,
absolute pleasure and an honor having you host me and just getting to come do this show for the last three parts.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to the future. Like you said, it's bright. We got a lot to discuss and a lot of riding to do. So, my name I never riding, but I'm always on those wheels. Trust me. Trust me. Is that the cops following you? How are you doing that light right there?
I'd never reveal all my secrets, Neva, but no, I was not getting chased by the cops in this footage.
Got the helicopter spotlight on you. But yeah, come here, kitty. This is the end of the show. The kitty said meow and meow and you now. So thank you again, everybody. That's Carlos C. the Bridges. Follow him on Instagram and all his socials. You know me, Never Riding. You can follow me on all my socials, TikTok, YouTube. It's Never everywhere you go. And Silent Sookie has a beautiful laugh that one day, if you're lucky enough, you'll get to hear. So
It's been a pleasure.
it's been a pleasure, guys, ladies and gentlemen. I think that is a show. Say goodnight, Kitty.